Good morning, everyone. Today's Thanksgiving, so wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Dr. Lynn just showed me a cartoon his son sent him, and it was a turkey talking to a chicken. And the turkey said to the chicken, "I wish I was born a chicken. I wouldn't have to be eaten on Thanksgiving." And the chicken responds to the turkey and says, "What, you never heard about Shabbos?" So Shabbos is also a day of Thanksgiving. We find that Mizmor Shir Yom HaShabbos, the psalm for the day of Shabbos. What's the psalm for the day of Shabbos? Tov lahodos l'Hashem. It's good to give thanks to God and l'zamer l'shimcha, to sing to His name, to His lofty name. So as Jews, we're constantly in a perpetual state of thanksgiving. And George Burns once quipped, he said, the definition of happiness is having a large, loving, caring, close-knit family living in a different city. Thanksgiving brings out challenges sometimes because you have to get together with members of your family that maybe it brings up issues and past memories that aren't so pleasant. In this week's parsha, we find that Yaakov arrives in a city, Shechem, and the Torah says something that the Torah doesn't say about any biblical figure ever in the Torah. And what is that? Vayavo Yaakov Shalem. Yaakov came complete to the city of Shechem. The question is, what does it mean when the Torah says that Yaakov was whole, he was complete? And is there ever a person who's completely whole, without any cracks, without any pain? What does it mean that Jacob arrived whole? So all you have to do is look at the story, the last scene in the Torah before the Torah declares that Jacob came whole. What was the story? Jacob had moved to the house of Laban. He married his wives, he had children, he became wealthy, he became successful. But there was one thing missing in his life. What was missing? He had a falling out with his brother. He couldn't talk to his brother. His brother even wanted to kill him. And the last scene in the Torah is how he makes peace with his brother, and they hug and they kiss. The very next story, the very next verse says, Yaakov arrives in the city of Shechem. He's whole, he's complete. Because you could be the most successful, prosperous person, you have a beautiful family, you have wives and children and wealth and success and prestige and everything. But if there's a brokenness in the family, there's someone you're not talking to, someone you're not getting along with, you're not really complete, you're not whole. Only after he reconciles with his brothers does Torah say he's shalem. And this is not only true about family relationships. You go to Thanksgiving, and for us Jews, every day is Thanksgiving. There's always something in life that's not the way it should be. There's always something that could be better. There's always something that's causing you aggravation or pain or hurt. And the question is, can you really be grateful when life isn't ideal, life isn't perfect? Yeah, there's things to be grateful for, but there's things that aren't the way you would like them to be. So how could you be grateful? And obviously, if you wait for your life to be perfect, to get all your ducks in a row, you'll never be grateful. You have to be grateful for what you have. And I'm reminded of the following story. There's a famous story, a beautiful story, that Yitzchak Perlman was once performing a concert in Avery Fisher Hall. Big audience. And anyone who's been to an Yitzchak Perlman concert, he was probably the greatest violinist alive. He was stricken by polio as a child. And so he walks on with his crutches and his braces, and it's a very painful, slow walk. And he finally gets into his chair, he sits down, he puts aside his crutches, he takes off his boots, tucks his feet in their position under the chair, takes out his violin, he puts it under his chin, gets the bow, and he gives a nod to the conductor, and they begin. And he goes into this rapture, into this amazing, performance. And the audience breaks out in applause. One time in the middle of this performance, in Avery Fisher Hall, he's in this, deep movements of, beautiful music, symphony, and suddenly there's this pop. One of the strings on the violin snaps, and it sounded, those who were there said it sounded like a gunshot, right through the hall. And everyone realized that one of the strings snapped. And he stopped, and everyone thought he was going to have to put down his violin, put his boots back on, his crutches, and walk off the stage. Instead, he looked at the conductor, and he nodded again, and he closed his eyes, and he began with such fierce determination to play the symphony with 3 strings. And you could see on his face the way he was recomposing the piece in a way that he could work it with 3 strings. And he played the most magical symphony. And when he finished it, the audience rose to their feet and gave him the most thunderous applause. And he lifted his bow, asking everyone to sit down. And then, not with arrogance, but just with humility and truth, he said, sometimes the job of the artist is to figure out how to make music with whatever you have left. We always have to work towards making our lives complete. But sometimes there are certain obstacles that we can't fix, we can't repair. It takes two to make peace. And sometimes there are challenges we can't overcome. We have to strive towards it. We have to pray towards it. We have to be grateful for what we have. But sometimes the magic of life is to make music with what you were given and what you have available to you. And that's the real gift of a true artist. And that's what Thanksgiving is. Try to work to make your life whole and resolve any differences you have within yourself or with others. But then ultimately be grateful for what you have and make the most beautiful music you can with the life you were given.